You eat a normal meal, nothing extreme, nothing unusual, but hours later, you still feel full, heavy, slower than usual, almost like your stomach is lagging behind the day. And the first thought is, my digestion is slow. But what does slow actually mean? Because most people don't measure digestion by transit time. They measure it by sensation. If fullness fades quickly, digestion feels normal. If fullness lingers, digestion feels slow. But lingering does not automatically mean something is stuck. It usually means pacing has shifted. Digestion is not one moment, it's a sequence. The stomach grinds food, it releases it gradually. The small intestine coordinates waves. Pressure distributes forward. Signals travel constantly between gut and brain. When coordination is smooth, you barely notice it. When coordination slows slightly, you feel heaviness. Heaviness is often a tempo change, not damage. Now let's define what slow digestion sensations typically feel like. Fullness that lasts longer than expected. A sense of weight in the upper abdomen. Delayed return of hunger. Mild pressure without sharp pain. A feeling that food is just sitting there. Notice something. These are sensory experiences, not a structural diagnosis. And sensory experiences are influenced by nervous system tone. The stomach does not empty at one fixed speed. It adapts. Stress increases sympathetic activity. Sympathetic tone can slow gastric emptying slightly. Parasympathetic tone supports coordinated digestion. If that balance shifts, tempo shifts. Now imagine this. You eat the same lunch on two different days. Day one,
Yeah.
you slept well, you're calm, you're not rushed. Day two, you slept poorly, you're tense, you're thinking about deadlines while eating. The meal is identical, but your nervous system state is not. On the 10th day, muscle tone subtly increases, coordination slightly fragments, sensitivity rises, and fullness lingers. Same food, different state, different tempo. Slow digestion sensations are often state dependent. There's another layer, posture and movement. Eating and immediately sitting lunch at a desk feels different from eating and taking a relaxed walk. Movement supports rhythm. Stillness under tension can amplify pressure sensation. It's not always the meal, it's often the context around the meal. There's also adaptive slowing after a larger meal, after poor sleep, or during high stress. The body may intentionally pace digestion differently. That's not failure, that's not modulation. The digestive system is responsive. Responsive systems don't operate at identical speed every day. They adjust, and adjustments can feel like slowing. Now, let's clarify what slow digestion is not. It's not constant severe pain. It's not persistent vomiting. It's not inability to tolerate food entirely. It's not progressive worsening without resolution. Those patterns require medical evaluation. What we're discussing is functional slowing, mild but noticeable, variable but reversible, and variability is the key word. Morning might feel light, afternoon might feel heavier, evening might feel slower. Circadian rhythm influence motility, hormone influence sensitivity, stress influences coordination. When all three are aligned, digestion feels effortless. When they drift, digestion feels slower. Another important marker is resolution. Does the heaviness eventually clear? Does hunger return? Does the system reset by the next day? If yes, does that suggest regulation variability, not a structural blockage? Resolution matters more than speed. A system that slows slightly but recovers is adaptive. A system that never resolves is different. Most people experiencing slow digestion are in the variability zone, not the danger zone, but interpretation changes everything. If heaviness triggers fear, sympathetic activation rises. If sympathetic activation rises, motility slows further. That creates a feedback loop. Heaviness, concern, tension, more slowing. Breaking that loop begins with reframing. Slow does not automatically mean broken. It often means adjusted. If you stabilize sleep, keep meals timing consistent, avoid rushing through meals, and include gentle movement afterward. Tempo often stabilizes, not because you force digestion, but because you stabilize regulation. Slow digestion symptoms are information. They tell you about tone, about pacing, about coordination. They are rarely just about food. If symptoms fluctuate with stress, sleep, or mental load, you are observing regulation patterns, and regulation patterns can be influenced. Digestion is not a machine with one speed setting, it's an adaptive system. Adaptive systems change pace, and pace change is felt as slow. Understanding that shifts your reaction. Instead of something is wrong, you can ask what shifted in my state. Tempo follows tone. Tone follows context, and context is adjustable. Slow digestion is often not a failure of the system, it's a reflection of how responsive is it. And responsiveness, when understood, becomes something you can work with instead of something you fear.